Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the EQ Skills Clinic, our weekly live that we host every single Thursday morning inside the EQ Lab. I'm so glad that you're here. I know we've got a few new faces around here, so I will introduce myself. My name is Dr. Shyamala. I am the founder of the EQ Lab. I'm also the founder of the EQ Code, which is our high touch coaching program designed specifically for high powered women who really want to master their emotions, communicate fearlessly, and elevate their relationships. I'm a podcast host for Confessions of an Ex Therapist, and I'm a media expert on national TV. I also spent a couple of decades as a psychotherapist and a couple and family therapist. So I'm slightly obsessed with the area of really leveraging emotional intelligence so that we can live our absolute best lives. So, if you are new around here, I definitely want you to give me a hello, give me a wave, drop an emoji, whether you're catching us live or whether you are catching the replay. If you are catching the replay, you can simply give me a hashtag replay in the comments. And that way I know that you are tracking with us and you are following this series. So let me tell you just a little bit about the EQ Skills Clinic, kind of what happens, how this all goes down, and that sort of thing. So inside this Facebook group, I do this live every single Thursday, and we rotate between four different areas when it comes to emotional intelligence. We look at mindset skills, we look at communication skills, we look at relationship management skills, and we also look at leadership skills. So all of these different types of skills, ladies, are really what allow us to shift how we are interacting inside of our relationships. And when I say relationships, I'm really talking about our relationships, both personally, so our relationships at home, as well as our relationships professionally. And one of the things I've learned in my 2 decades of working with people, and I would say particularly in the work that I've done as a psychotherapist and couple and family therapist, what I've noticed certainly is that for high performing, high achieving, ambitious, type A sorts of personalities, for women that would really identify themselves as sort of high performing women, we have very unique struggles when it comes to navigating our relationships using some nuanced micro skills, in particular when it comes to our personal relationships. So the skills that might work in our professional lives don't always translate over into our personal lives. And I've certainly had personal experience with this. And I've worked with thousands of women who also have had this experience. And so it really did become my mission to equip women with the skills that I believe we all deserve in order to really improve our quality of life. All right. So today we are speaking about mindset skills. And again, if you've spent any time with me, you would know that for me, mindset skills, or really reprogramming our subconscious, lies within a broader framework of emotional intelligence, right? So our ability to reprogram our subconscious mind and really create and impress upon our subconscious mind new beliefs, new paradigms, new scripts about ourselves, new scripts about the world, new scripts about the relationships that we are in. Our ability to do that is really what allows us to access the other skills related to emotional intelligence. And those are namely communication skills, relationship management skills, and leadership skills. So we are looking at the foundation today. So today's topic, today's conversation is a really, really important one. So I would encourage you to take out, I'm still old school. I'm still, notebook, pen kind of girl. So take out whatever you enjoy recording notes on, take out a notebook, take out a pen, take out the notes section in your phone, but you're going to want to take some notes as we engage in these conversations so that you can actually begin to apply these skills into your day-to-day life, right? We know that knowledge and information is not very useful unless we know how to apply it and unless we actually do apply it. So I would encourage you to get those things out now, and really get ready to engage with this topic. So today we are going to look at redefining problems to find new solutions. We're going to look at our problems differently. We're going to take a different perspective on our problems. Why? So that we can access more creative solutions, so that we can access solutions from our higher faculties. So, one of the things that often happens is that we are trained, and we're trained through, childhood. We're even trained through the way that we learn, in our, it could be our education. We're trained to assess situations, make decisions, and essentially decide how we're going to feel about something based on what we can see, what we can hear, really based on our senses. What we're often not trained to do is to actually look at things from the perspective of our higher self or our higher faculties. So things like imagination, things like desire, things like, really being able to be creative, right? Looking at things through our creative mind. We're often not taught to look at situations that way. And we're certainly not taught to look at problems that way. And this is often what gets us stuck. So, the concept I want to introduce you to first and foremost today is this one. It's the idea that the problem is not the problem. I want you to take that in. I want you to sit with that. I certainly want you to write that down. Write that down. Write it in big, bold block letters. Okay, write that down. The problem is not the problem. The problem is not the problem. The thing you think is the problem, the thing you think is getting you down, the thing that you think is causing the anxiety or the fear or the sadness or the overwhelm or the frustration or the whatever it is that you are feeling on an emotional level, that is not the problem. That thing that you think is the problem is actually external to you. The circumstance, the conversation, the person that looked at you the wrong way, your partner that, didn't pick up his socks, your coworker that, had that tone with you. All of those situations are external to you, and they hold an external locus of control, right? So the things that we've been taught to think are the problem are in fact not the problem. Right? So there's something faulty about our thinking to begin with. There's something faulty about our perspective to begin with. We've been programmed to think about problems in a certain way, and that's what the problem is. So the problem is not your coworker. The problem is not your partner. The problem is not your child. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is not what you might think is the problem. The problem, in fact, is the way in which you are looking at your external circumstances. I'm going to say that again, because that's a really important one. And I'll tell you, when I think about the work that I've done, not just professionally, but the work that I have done personally in terms of rewiring my own mindset, the work that I still do day in and day out. I kid you not when I say that I do this work day in and day out, and not just once a day. Right? I come back to subconscious programming, challenging it, looking at it, thinking about it critically, and really reprogramming it multiple times throughout my day. Because that programming goes so deep, it runs really, really deep, and it has such a huge impact, literally, on every single aspect of our lives. And the biggest shift that I made that really had an impact and that I continue to make, I'm still working on this shift, is really understanding that as long as I keep looking at the problem as external to me, I will keep feeling disempowered. I will keep creating a far, far bigger problem in my life. As long as I keep believing and telling myself that the problem is external to me, it is about my circumstances, that I can't or I shouldn't, or, that person has it easier. As long as I keep doing that, I will keep creating a bigger problem for myself. I will keep disempowering myself. I will not allow myself to access creativity in terms of my thinking, and I will remain stuck. So, focusing our attention, our energies, our time on those things that are outside of our control only does two things. It only does two things. And these two things, I kind of think of them as one thing because they are so deeply connected. So, every single time, my friend, I really want you to take this in. Every single time you focus your attention, your energy, your time on things that are outside of your control, two very interconnected things happen. You increase your anxiety and you decrease your confidence every single time without fail. Without fail. I can tell you that very confidently, right? Every single time we focus our energy, our attention, our thoughts, our emotions, our time, our resources on things that are outside of our control, the only thing that happens is that our anxiety increases and our confidence decreases. That is it. We set ourselves up for ultimate failure when we do this. We set ourselves up for ultimate failure. Why? Because it puts us into a reactive state. It puts us into a reactive state. It reinforces a fear-based reality. It reinforces the subconscious programming that tells us that I'm not good enough, the world is not safe, I'll never get it right, nothing goes my way, on and on and on. I mean, those are just some examples. But every single time we've put our focus on things that are outside of our control, we increase our anxiety and we decrease our confidence. So, what are those things that are outside of our control? It's what other people are thinking, how other people are feeling, and what other people are doing. I'm going to say it again. And I say this one a lot because I need you to understand this. There is a very clear, evidence-based way to reprogram fear and anxiety. There is a very clear, evidence-based way to build your confidence. It is clear. It is simple. The steps are available to us. We know the research is there. The evidence is there. It's tried and true. It's simple. It's clear. The problem is it's not easy. And this happens, almost every week when I'm coaching my private group. I'm coaching the women and I'll share something about, I'll identify, you're focusing on this thing. That's what's getting you stuck and this and that. And I'll see them sort of take a big inhale and a even bigger exhale. And they're like, oh, but Shyamala, oh, that's just so much easier said than done. I'm like, yep, it is. It is so much easier said than done. And yet, what choice are you going to make? Like, what's the choice you're going to make? Right? Because you can continue to think in a way that is incredibly disempowering. You can continue that. But what I know is that as long as you think in a way that is disempowering, you will never be satisfied and happy with the results that you are experiencing in your life. You will never be happy and you will never be satisfied with the results you are experiencing in your life, because the results that you are currently experiencing right now today are based on your past thinking patterns. Everything you have in your life right now, in this moment, is history. It's all based on the choices, the thoughts, the feelings of the past. So if you want different results tomorrow or next week or next month or 6 months from now, at the time that I'm recording this, I know it's going to be released on our podcast a little later on. But at the time that I'm recording it, we're midway through 2021. It's June. Okay. We have 6 months left in the year. And I can guarantee you right now that if nothing changes in terms of your perspective, your paradigms, your subconscious mind, if nothing changes, my friend, between now and the end of the year, you will have the exact same results in your life that you have right now. Whatever you're not satisfied with, whatever does not light your soul on fire, whatever you are unhappy about right now will remain, right? Because unless we change our thinking, unless we reprogram the subconscious, really rewire our thinking, we're absolutely unable to have different results in our life, whether that's professional success, personal success, it doesn't matter. It's all the same mind. It's your subconscious mind that drives all of that. It drives all of that. So the more that we focus on what we can't control, the more anxious and fearful we become. The more we are reprogramming that idea of I live out of a fear-based reality. I have very little control. Things happen to me, right? I am just reactive to what's happening all around me. And our anxiety continues to increase, and the less confident we feel. So this is what I mean when I say the formula, the concept, the framework is very, very simple, right? It's very, very simple. The way to change it and the way to shift it requires diligence, it requires consistency, and it requires you to make a decision that you're going to take radical responsibility for your life. So, how do we, in fact, decrease our anxiety? How do we actually build our confidence? What can we do? What are some practical things we can do? So, I'm going to give you 3 tips. But before I give you those tips, I want to say this. Any change that we make in our lives, any change that allows us to experience lasting transformation, requires one really powerful step. It's the most important step that you can take. And that's making a decision, right? So in order for you to experience the change that you're looking for, in order for you to experience the relationships, the success, the life, the transformation, the desires of your heart, in order for you to experience that, my friend, the most important step you can take is to make a decision that you are going to experience that. You are going to experience the level of success and freedom and confidence that you desire. I'm a very, very firm believer that, especially as women, we need to be more deeply connected to our desires. We need to be more deeply connected to the desires of our heart. We need to stop telling ourselves that I wish this or I wish that, right? Wishes don't lead to results. but really tapping into your desires and making a decision from a place of desire can allow you to really unlock the habits that will allow you to move towards the results that you're looking for. Okay. So, what are some of these habits? What are some of the really simple, practical things that you can do? And remember, I said simple, not easy. Okay. What are some of the simple things that you can do? The first thing is that we need to identify what we can't control. We need to identify what we can't control, as well as we need to identify what we can control. Okay. We need to know what we can't control and what we can control. And once we've identified what is within our control, once we've identified what is within our locus of control, then what we really want to do is we want to come up with creative solutions to what is blocking us. This is what I mean by, we've been taught to view problems, the potentiality for solutions, our world around us simply by what we can see, like what's in our bank account, or, that conversation that I just had last week, or how many spaces are there in my organization for a promotion. We've been trained to use our mind in that way. We have not been trained to have the courage and the confidence to exercise greater creativity in our thinking. And this is why so many of us remain stuck. We remain stuck in situations, relationships that we might not be happy with, jobs or careers that we might not be happy with. We might be stuck with an income that we might not be happy with. There are so many areas where we remain stuck. We remain stuck because we haven't been taught how to exercise our creative mind. And we all have a creative mind. So we want to be coming up with solutions, creative solutions to what's blocking us, really thinking outside the box, having a more expansive way of looking at opportunities. And then the final piece is really to take action. We want to take action that opens up opportunities. I talk so often here about risk taking. Risk taking, the ability, the propensity, the capacity to take risks, we know is a really strong leadership skill. We know that. We know top 10% of all leaders in any industry, they know how to take risks. They have leaned into the discomfort of taking risks. So we want to take action that opens up opportunities. And this is going to require facing our fears, right? Finding the courage and really being able to take risks. So I want you to really think through, you might want to listen to this conversation again. But the concept I really want you to get on a deep level is that the problem is not the problem. The problem is, in fact, the way that we are seeing the problem, not with our eyes necessarily, but from our subconscious. And the solution is to really give ourselves the permission, the freedom, and the courage to begin to see things more expansively, more creatively, with more freedom, and to really have the courage to lean into all that that means. Friends, I am so glad that you joined me for this conversation. If something I said today struck a chord, if something I said today really touched you, right? If you felt pulled, even if you felt uncomfortable or triggered by something that I said today, because that happens a lot. That happens a lot, right? Where I say something that can be triggering. I want you to pay attention to that, right? There might be an opportunity for growth for you. If you would like to jump on a call with me, I offer free strategy sessions for women here inside the EQ Lab, on some of my other social media platforms. If you'd like to jump on a call to figure out if working with me in a deeper way might be a good fit for you, If you've been thinking about taking the next step in your personal growth journey and really elevating your relationships, if you're ready to start communicating fearlessly, if you're ready to really begin to master your emotions and not allow yourself to move through the day feeling like everything is just happening to you and you're just constantly in reaction and feeling really disempowered, if you're ready to get unstuck from those patterns, if you're ready to reprogram your subconscious in an evidence based, lasting way, if you're ready to learn how to actually ask for what you need confidently, and if you're ready to really elevate the quality of your relationships, I know that Krista is here with me and she is going to throw the link to book a call with me. It is completely free. One of the things I do say is we have very limited spaces. So, my ask of you is that if you're really feeling ready to begin on like working on some of this, you're really feeling ready to make that commitment, I would love to get on a call with you. We will meet as face to face as we can. We will meet on Zoom, and I can help you to decide if working with me inside my signature program, the Emotional Intelligence Code, is the right next step for you. All right. I'm so glad that you joined us today. I will be back next week, Thursday, 10 a.m., for another skills clinic. Have an amazing day, guys.